Get ready, Padres fans. It's time for the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network.
Tatis at third, 2 outs. Fernando takes off. He's going to steal home without a play.
Coming up, we'll have a recap of the previous Padres game, a preview of today's starting pitching matchup, and our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Mike Shildt. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Today the Padres take on the Houston Astros in the first game of a 3-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today for the Astros, right-hander Spencer Arrighetti, and for the Padres, right-hander Yu Darvish. Hi again everyone, Sam Levitt with you inside the lofts here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 6:40. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, we'll hear from Padres third baseman Manny Machado. We'll hear from starting pitcher Joe Musgrove. We hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. And in just a few minutes, we check in with Bob Scanlon. But first, let's set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971 with 3 locations, La Mesa, Vista, and Oceanside. Padres enter today 85-65. They enter today sitting in the National League's first wild card spot, a game and a half ahead of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Padres are also just 3.5 games back of the Dodgers for first place in the NL West. Meanwhile, the Astros come in 81-68. They have had a total turnaround here in 2024 after a very slow start to the season, but now the Astros have a 4.5 game lead on the Mariners for first place in the AL West. Before we turn our full attention to this series against Houston, let's take a look back to what happened yesterday in San Francisco.
How did the Padres fare in their last game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind. Presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Let's begin with Padres starter Martin Perez on the mound yesterday. He pitched 5 scoreless innings to begin the day. The only problem, Giants starter Landon Roop also went 5 scoreless innings. In the top of the 6th inning, Manny Machado hit a sac fly to give the Padres a 1-0 lead. In the bottom of the 6th inning, Perez took the mound. The number 9 batter, Donovan Walton, started at the inning.
Here's the 0-1. Walton swings, sends it in the air to right center field. Long run now, still going back. He is at the wall, and this one going to go. Boy, the wind looked like it just grabbed it and took it over the fence in right center field. Donovan Walton with his first home run of the year, and a 1-1 game in the 6th.
We went to the 8th inning, still tied at 1. Tyler Rogers came in to pitch for the Giants. Fernando Tatis Jr. pinch hit to start the frame.
First pitch on the way. Tatis swings, sends it in the air to deep left field. Ramos is back. This one gonna go. First career pinch hit home run, and Fernando puts the Padres in front 2-1.
The Padres still led 2-1 going to the bottom half of the 9th inning. Robert Suarez entered. Elliot Ramos led off for San Francisco.
3-2 in the air to right field and deep. Peralta is back. He will watch. It's going to go. Elliot Ramos into McCovey Cove. A game-tying homer to lead off the bottom of the 9th inning. It's 2-2.
So we went to extra innings. Jake Cronenworth was the Padres' automatic runner on second base in the top of the 10th. David Peralta at the plate.
Here's the 3-1. Peralta swings, hits it on the ground through the left side of the base hit. Cronenworth rounding third, on his way. Ramos' throw will go to second. RBI single, David Peralta. And the Padres are back in front. It's 3-2.
Padres weren't done. Luis Ariz hit a 1-out double. That sent Peralta to third base. Donovan Solano then hit a ground ball to third. That brought Peralta home to make it 4-2. Adrian Morejon came on for the Padres in the bottom half of the 10th inning. Mike Yastrzemski was the Giants' automatic runner at second base. He would score on a sac fly. The Giants had the tying run at the plate.
0-1 pitch. Bailey swings. It's a ground ball to third base. Solano scoops it up. Throw across the diamond in time, and the ball game is over. Padres beat the Giants 4-3 in 10. They have come to San Francisco and swept the series.
Very nice win for the Padres. Very good series for the Padres as they sweep the San Francisco Giants. They go 4-1 on the 5-game road trip to Seattle and the Bay Area. And now the Padres come home for the final homestand of the regular season. But hopefully not the final games the Padres will play here at Petco Park. And right now they would host a wild card series in the National League. As we get ready for first pitch coming up at 6:40, let's go inside the Jerry Coleman Broadcast Center.
Let's go inside the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup from Bob Scanlon in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
All right, Scan, let's start with a look at Yu Darvish on the mound today for the Padres. Last start in Seattle, 5 innings, 2 earned runs given up on 7 hits. He allowed a couple of home runs early, but then Scan really settled in, seemed like a nice step forward after his initial return from the IL. So, Scan, it sets us up here today against a very good Astros lineup. What will you be looking for from Yu Darvish?
More of what we've seen in these first 2 outings, Sam, because after the first outing, look, the numbers didn't look great. He lasted 2 2/3 innings, and you talked about it after the ball game, saying, I felt pretty good about my stuff. I was just a little bit amped up, and I think everybody watching him sort of felt the same thing. Fastball was coming out with some velocity, had good shape on his breaking pitches. You didn't know what to expect after not seeing him for 3 months, but the stuff actually looked really good. He just wasn't commanding it like we normally see, and afterwards, I love that he said I was being a human being and was just too amped up about it. So I wasn't shocked to see him come out and continue to have quality stuff in game number 2. What was nice is that by the 3rd inning, and you mentioned, it's a little bit of damage early on, but he finally got himself locked in. You could see the mechanics finally, so it just clicks in, and sometimes I can tell you as a pitcher, you know exactly what it was. Oh, I stayed back a little longer. I used my hip a little differently. Or I broke my hands in a different spot. Other times, it's none of that. You just throw a couple of pitches, and you just feel like, there it is. The rhythm is back. I've got it. And that's what happened with Yu Darvish, it looked like, and he started mowing, and especially with that sweeper. So I'm looking for him to pick up where he left off in the last few innings of that last outing, Sam, of getting having his mechanics down, having his timing down, getting more comfortable in his 3rd time out, making sure that the butterflies, the adrenaline, all that kind of normal stuff that you expected in the first outing or 2 are now behind him, and hopefully we see a vintage Yu Darvish outing today.
You have the veteran Yu Darvish on the mound for the Padres, then a very young right-hander in Spencer Arrighetti on the mound for the Astros, a 24-year-old rookie. And, Scan, you look at what he's done this year, especially as of late. He's been very impressive. He was the rookie pitcher of the month in the AL for the month of August, coming off a good start against the A's. What can you tell us about Spencer Arrighetti on the mound today for Houston?
Yeah, he's got a good repertoire. He's got a good fastball up in the zone. He's the classic Houston Astro type pitcher, right? The 4-seamers up in the zone. He's got some nice breaking pitches that he goes to. And to your point, he's really thrown the ball well of late. Now, the first 15 outings of the season, things were rough for this young guy. He posted a 6.13 earned run average, but over the last 11 games, a 3.16. And we'll go into more detail in the broadcast of some of the things that he's done to correct that. But one thing we want to keep an eye on today is the Padre hitters to make sure that they're not chasing out of the zone. He's not a pinpoint control type guy. He's got a lot of sweep. He uses the breaking pitches out of the zone. He likes to get a lot of chase, especially if he gets ahead in the count. So keep an eye on the counts and keep an eye on the Padres not chasing and expanding the zone against this young guy. And I think the Padres have really done a great job all season long of not doing that, and we'll keep an eye on that today.
Bob, let's talk about the offense for a second here, because to me there have been a couple of guys really throughout the last few weeks that have stood out in a major way, and I want to focus on one of them, Luis Arraez, and the other guy I'm talking about here is Manny Machado, who has been really, really good for about 3 months here, one of the better players in the NL. But let's talk about Arraez, because you look at what he's done during this hitting streak, Scan, the strikeout-less streak. I mean, it is just unbelievable, and I feel like we're seeing Luis Arraez right now sort of at the peak of his powers. When he's doing the kinds of things he's doing right now, I feel like he has such a big impact at the very top of this lineup. He's been so good.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Sam, and I don't think it's any surprise. I mean, this is sort of what we expect to see out of Luis Arraez. Now, granted, it's going in an even higher mode at this point, but what it's so fun to watch is this guy never gives up an at-bat, never gives up a pitch. He is so locked in. and has an idea of what he wants to do, and he's not one-dimensional. As much as people wanted to say, oh, he just flips little, line drives into left field, and you hope that the defense hasn't shifted and taken it away. The other day, he got a fastball down and in, and he turned it on it, hit it off the wall down the right field line in San Francisco. So he's not a one-dimensional guy. And what I think a lot of people also underestimate is the influence that he can have at the top of the lineup, Sam, especially when you've got some guys at the back end of your lineup that can get on base and set the stage for him. There's been multiple times this year where we've seen, in fact, A.J. Hinch put himself in a terrible position where you've got the leadoff man, which a lot of times you'll go after instead of Fernando Tatis Jr., but right. Luis Arraez is so good at driving in runs that you have to respect that at that point. He's not a guy just trying to set the table. He's a guy that can do damage with you with guys in scoring position. He's been fantastic all season long in that leadoff spot, and he's just a joy to watch. And I think I've said this to you before. I would not have enjoyed watching him hit back in my playing career because he was so darn challenging to try to face. But now as a broadcaster, I have so much fun watching what he's able to do and have so much respect for what he does and his craftsmanship at the plate. It really does. I know we talk about it all the time, but it is such a reminder of facing Tony Gwynn and just a throwback to what it means to be a true craftsman at the plate and a guy that can handle the bat. So fun to watch, and I hope that he's influencing young players all over the world that are watching him, because I think it's a part of the game that we miss and has been underappreciated.
It's such a good point you make about him not being one-dimensional, and the double he hit in the 10th inning yesterday is a great example of it. Gets ahead in the count and drives the ball, and I'll tell you what, you look at that inning, that double got Peralta to third base, and then Peralta scores from third. It ends up being the winning run in yesterday's game. So a really good point, Scan. He's been so good for the Padres at the very top of the lineup. Scan, we'll talk to you and Jesse coming up at 6:30 as the Padres begin this 6-game homestand, 3 against the Astros, 3 against the White Sox. As always, thanks so much.
Thank you, Sam.
All right, that's Bob Scanlon joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on the Padres Radio Network as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 6:40. As always, if you want to get involved on our pregame coverage, you can do that in a number of different ways. You can tweet at me at SammyLev, SammyLev. Instagram DM's open as well, SammyLev there too. If you want to comment on our various video streams like on YouTube, you can do that as well. Let me know, what is your key to today's game? I may just read your key to the game coming up a little bit later on. When we come back, we hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt, plus a little bit later we hear from Padres third baseman Manny Machado and starting pitcher Joe Musgrove. First pitch coming up at 6:40 for game 1 of this 3-game series against the Houston Astros. Our pregame coverage continues after this on the Padres Radio Network. Back here on the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network. Your water perfected. EcoWater SoCal. Your water should be perfect. Find them online at EcoWaterSoCal.com. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we get ready for Game 1 of this 3-game series between the Padres and the Houston Astros, shaping up to be a gorgeous evening. Here in downtown San Diego, some puffy white clouds in the sky, but otherwise blue skies up above. Lights on here at Petco Park, settling in for the start of the final homestand of the regular season. Hopefully many more games in store here at Petco Park in the month of October. But hey, for the regular season, yes, the final 6 games beginning here tonight. Padres come in 85-65. Astros come in first place in the AL West at 81-68. We'll hear from Manny Machado coming up a little bit later. We'll also hear from Joe Musgrove. We have our keys to the game and a full breakdown of our pitching matchup between Spencer Arrighetti and Yu Darvish. But first, let's hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt before today's game.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Presented by Sinley Food. Spice up your culinary life.
Yu Darvish on the mound today. What would you like to see him build upon from that last start in Seattle?
Yeah, more of the same. Control counts, breaking ball for quality strikes, fastball with life. Just a lot of mix with the pitches. Got a lot of them. Throwing them anytime, control counts. He does that. He's going to be in great shape.
I want to ask about Hassan Kim. Is there any sort of update on him?
Nothing really. Just changed from yesterday. He's going to start to play a little more aggressive catch. We like to think on Wednesday, but right now we're just making sure he's getting some treatment.
Is now the time of year where it's okay to scoreboard watch?
Yeah, I think everybody's got their own personal preferences, right? You can green light whatever you want. I focus as much as I can. We're not naive. The scoreboard's there, but for me, it's really just about us playing our game and taking care of our business.
When you get to this time of the year, 12 games left, 6 at home, does it almost feel like where'd the season go at this point?
Yeah, to a point. I think the season's gone really quick. It really has. You look up, and when you put your head down, you go day by day. You just look to compete and enjoy the group, and you look up and bloom where you're playing it every day and see where it takes you.
You guys are clearly in the spot because of Robert Suarez, but given some of the recent struggles and the number of innings he's pitched this year, is there any thought of using Tanner Scott more often in that closer role?
Well, you're going to use our high leverage guys in the games. So, that's what Robert is. He's an all-star. Relative to the innings go, his innings aren't extremely far off. It's a little bit more, but it's not this, crazy. And more recently, he's had a lot of rest. So, good news is we got a lot of multiple options. And the other good news is we have Robert Suarez, who's pretty special. And, the thing is a couple times it doesn't work out. You look up and guys hit opposite field homers on 100-mile-an-hour fastballs. Sometimes you got to tip your hat.
Coach, talk about Donovan Solano. Is that guy just a professional hitter or what?
He's professional across the board. Professional hitter, professional guy in the clubhouse, just a pro's pro regardless. But just a guy that just takes great at-bats regardless of the situation. And, I've had the privilege of knowing him since he started in rookie ball 2004. And, it's just been a blessing to be part of his life. He's a great hitter, great player.
You're not too big on looking too far forward, but you're talking about playoff positioning here, and you got that last 3 in Arizona. How important is a home field advantage or hosting a wild card series, getting that in your own barn?
Yeah, clearly it's important. But today, we're going to play the Houston Astros, and that's all we can accomplish today is, compete right here. So I think it's understand the conversation, understand the question, but, my mental energy and headspace is always around competing in what we're going to do today.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt. Before today's game, we'll hear more from Mike on our post-game show coming up a little bit later on this evening as the Padres play Game 1 of this 3-game series against the Houston Astros. Let's tell you who's hot, who's not as we get ready for this series opener.
Which player is locked in at the dish? Who needs to kick things up another notch? This is Who's Hot, Who's Not on the Padres Radio Network.
We begin with a look at the hot category. Luis Arraez had 2 hits yesterday and is in the midst of a 13-game hitting streak. Arraez is hitting .456 in that span during the 13-game hit streak. Arraez is now gone 140 consecutive plate appearances without recording a strikeout. The longest streak since Juan Pierre went 147 plate appearances without a strikeout in 2004. So Arise, if he doesn't strike out in the next couple of games, he's likely to pass that streak by Pierre back in 2004. Arise leads the National League with a .322 batting average. He's looking to win a third consecutive batting title with a third different team, and he would have one in the AL and two in the NL if he wins it this year. Manny Machado, also in the hot category. He's batting .322 with 11 extra base hits and 25 RBIs in his last 21 games. I looked this up and tweeted this out earlier today because I think it's worth noting. Here are Manny Machado's National League rankings since June 16th. That's exactly 3 months ago. He ranks first in RBI with 66. His .301 batting average ranks 5th. His .900 OPS ranks 7th. His 20 home runs are tied for 5th. So what does that all mean? Well, it means that for the last 3 months, for as difficult at times as the first couple of months were for Manny, the last 3 months, he has been Manny Machado. He has been one of the best players in the National League. Also in the hot category, Fernando Tatis Jr., 8 for his last 20 with 4 home runs and 8 RBIs in those 20 at-bats. In the not category, Jake Cronenworth did have a base hit yesterday, but still, he's just 1 for 18 in his last 5 games. And that's a look at who's hot, who's not, as we get ready for this series opener at Petco Park. When we come back, we hear from Padres third baseman Manny Machado. We tell you about a guy that is out of the lineup for the Astros here tonight, and we'll give you the injury reports on the Astros and the Padres. We also have our keys to the game and a full breakdown of this pitching matchup between the Padres and the Astros, with first pitch coming up at 6:40. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues after this on the Padres Radio Network. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we get ready for Game 1 of this 3-game series between the Padres and the Houston Astros. Coming up a little bit later in this segment, we'll hear from Padres third baseman Manny Machado. A great answer earlier today from Joe Musgrove on the impact of Donovan Solano and David Peralta. I'm going to play that for you coming up a little bit later as well. So a lot to get to. Full look at the out-of-town scoreboard and our keys to the game coming up a little bit later as well. Let's get you up to speed on some of the injury news as of late for the Houston Astros.
Who's in, who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
The main injury news for the Astros entering today, outfielder Ben Gamel, who, by the way, did play briefly for the Padres last season, he was removed from Saturday's game after he made a running catch in the right field corner. That was at Angel Stadium. Came out of the game with a knee bruise. He's still day-to-day. Jason Hayward is in left field tonight for the Astros. We'll have a little bit more on him coming up later, but Gamel has played quite a bit for the Astros as of late. Gamel not in the lineup today. Jason Hayward is in the lineup. And when we talk about who's in, who's out, Kyle Tucker missed a lot of time earlier this season. Terrific player for the Astros. He returned on September 6th and hit a home run on Saturday, his first home run since returning from the IL. But Tucker still is really in the process of coming back from that injury. He's only 6 for 24 since returning from the IL. As far as the Padres, no real update for you today on Ha-Sung Kim. Really still continues to deal with that right shoulder inflammation. As we know, was throwing from shortstop for a little bit. That didn't go great, so the Padres had to take a step back with that. And really, as of today, no real further update on Ha-Sung Kim and the potential of him ramping up that throwing program. So that's a quick look at the injuries to the Astros and the Padres entering this 3-game series. Before we hear from Manny Machado, let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the Bigs and tell you about the scores you need to know in our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Meat, where great taste meets integrity.
We have a number of games going on already today. Diamondbacks ahead of the Rockies, 2-0 in Colorado in the second inning, so not a great update there from the Padres' perspective. Cardinals beating the Pirates 1-0 in St. Louis in the sixth inning. Brewers 3, Phillies 1 in Milwaukee in the fifth inning. Cubs leading the A's 9-2 in Chicago in the fifth inning. Royals 5, Tigers 4 in Kansas City in the fifth inning. Dodgers ahead of the Braves 3-0 in Atlanta in the seventh inning. Nationals and the Mets are tied at 1 in the eighth inning in New York. And the Twins leading the Guardians 3-2 in Cleveland in the eighth inning. One other game yet to begin aside from this one, the White Sox in Anaheim against the Angels. That game starting at 6:38. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Monday. Again, Diamondbacks began the day a game and a half behind the Padres, who sit in the first wild card spot. Diamondbacks leading the Rockies 2-0. And again, Braves trailing the Dodgers 3-0. Mets and the Nationals tied at 1. Those two teams, the Mets and the Braves, are currently tied for that third and final wild card spot. And again, the Padres entered today 3.5 games behind the Dodgers for first place in the National League West. And I'm sure Jesse and Bob will keep you up to speed on all the scores going on that mean something to the Padres throughout the ball game, and we'll have much more on all those games coming up on our post-game show later on this evening. Manny Machado spoke with the media inside the Padres clubhouse earlier today. Here were my questions for Manny, and then more with Manny Machado.
A sweep in San Francisco. How would you assess how the team played?
I think we played well. I mean, I think, it's just crunch time, it's about 13 games left, 12 games left, whatever it is. We're just going out there and leaving it all on the table. We know what's at stake here, and, we're just trying to get going and finish off strong.
You look at your numbers the last 3 months. I mean, you've been terrific. I mean, really terrific numbers when you look across the National League. when you think about this season in totality, what's been the biggest difference the last handful of months for you?
I don't know. I mean, it's just health, I guess. I think the biggest thing is health. Not being able to, have a little spring training during the season is not ideal. But just healthy overall. And it helps when you have this team and your teammates trying to push you and make you better every single day, and not really take on that load that you need to overdo or try to be the guy when everyone's contributing in some way or shape or form. Everyone's doing it. So it's been a fun year, man. It's been a hell of a ride for all of us, and we got a few weeks left, and we're just trying to finish off strong and finish off in a positive way.
What's the feeling in the clubhouse when you guys know you control your own destiny?
It's just, honestly, we don't even think about it. That's the honest question. We know what we need to do and what our goal is, and we're just going to continue to focus on tonight, which has been our strengths all year, and we're going to continue to do that and not change. And we're facing a really good team today, and we got to go out there and prepare for them. And I think that's the hardest part. Just go out there and prepare, and we'll worry about tomorrow. But we just got to continue to play good baseball.
I think you're getting honored for the Clemente nomination later in the homestand. What does that mean to you, and to be honored here in San Diego?
Listen, I mean, I think that's a huge accomplishment, great honor. You're talking about one of the greatest to ever live in our game, to ever do it in our game. Just to be even mentioned in the same, same breath. I mean, it's an honor. But it took a big group. It's not just myself. It took my wife, our organization, Tom, the Padres organization as well, Andrea. I mean, there's been a lot of people that have done a lot of stuff behind the scenes, to make this happen, and they're as much as this part of this accomplishment as I am. So, it's just an honor to even be nominated to be a part of his legacy.
Your elbow is going to benefit from this next off season, right? Like, is it encouraging that you're doing what you're doing, and your elbow isn't even fully healed yet, from what I understand, right? Like,
yeah, it's not yet. I've been doing this for 12 years now. Yeah, it's 164 home runs, right? I've been doing this for a long time, so I mean, we all know what it is. I mean, it's surgery, and it's. It takes time to heal, and this year I knew going into it was going to be a grind, and I just had to get mentally prepare for the ups and downs and the roller coaster that were going to happen. And even over the weekend with the cold, it was bothering a little bit. So I mean, it's just ups and downs. I mean, it's just part of the process. So you just got to take the blows and roll with the punches. But yeah, I mean, definitely this offseason is going to be great. I can't wait.
I can't wait. Doing now, I mean, the success that you've had, it's got to be encouraging.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy with with the results. Surgery went well, and I'm bounced back, and I think it was a big question mark going into it that we didn't really know what there hasn't really been many surgeries has happened to baseball players, so you don't really know what the outcome was going to be, if I was going to lose some strength or I was going to lose some, I don't know, a couple other things that they said. So yeah, I mean, how I feel right now feels great, and to now have a good offseason under my belt to really hit it and really get it as strong as possible to be ready for next year for full season. It's going to be, I'm excited for it. I can't wait.
That was Padres third baseman Manny Machado earlier today. Manny discussing a number of different topics, and we'll hear from Padres starting pitcher Joe Musgrove coming up a little bit later as well. First pitch coming up at 6:40 here at Petco Park. Series opener between the Padres and the Houston Astros. Let's give you our keys to the game.
How will the Padres unlock a victory in today's game? These are the keys to the game. Presented by Honor Buick GMC Hummer in National City.
Key number one, avoid the strikeout against Arrighetti. This is an interesting matchup for the Padres tonight, and here's why. The Padres are a team that does not strike out much. They hit for a really high average. They have the third lowest strikeout rate this season among major league teams. But tonight they face a starting pitcher for the Astros in Spencer Arrighetti, who has struck out a ton of batters lately. Arrighetti has struck out 62 batters in his last 45 2/3 innings. So a really key question here tonight. Who wins this battle? Can the Padres avoid striking out against Arrighetti? If they can, that seems like a big advantage for the Padres tonight. That's key number one. Key number two, Don't let Hayward hammer you. Don't forget, Jason Hayward is an Astro, the former Dodger. He was DFA'd by the Dodgers a few weeks ago, picked up by the Astros. He has 5 hits and 2 home runs in his last 8 at-bats, and he typically is very good at Petco Park, a .534 slugging percentage in 45 career games in San Diego. So don't let Jason Hayward hurt you in this lineup here tonight, because he swung the bat really well for the Astros as of late. Key number 3, sort of in the same way, Yordan Alvarez. Try to avoid Yordan Alvarez being a guy to hurt you in this Astros lineup. He's a guy that I feel like doesn't get enough attention for what he does. You look at his numbers this year, he's hitting .308, 84 RBIs, 34 home runs. Do you know that he's hit now 30-plus home runs in 4 straight seasons, 33 home runs, 37 home runs, 31 home runs, and then 34 this year, and still counting with some games left. So Yordan Alvarez is a really, really good player. I know he's done some big things in the postseason, but those 2 guys in the lineup today for the Astros, Alvarez and Hayward, and hey, the Astros have a lot of big-time hitters as well, Altuve and Kyle Tucker and Alex Bregman. This is a really good Astros lineup and team, but Yordan Alvarez is a guy that can beat you with one swing. Try to avoid that here tonight, and that's a look at our keys to the game. When we come back on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show, we'll tell you what to watch for in today's game. We also dive into our pitching matchup between Yu Darvish and Spencer Arrighetti, and we hear from Joe Musgrove, a really, really insightful answer from Joe on the impact of Donovan Solano and David Peralta on this Padres team. Solano back in the lineup playing first base tonight for the Padres. We'll hear from Joe on that when we return. First pitch coming up at 6:40 on the Padres Radio Network. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 6:40. We go out to Jesse Agler and Bob Scanlon in just a little bit less than 10 minutes. They'll have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play beginning at 6:30. Interesting matchup here tonight for the Padres against the Astros. These have been by record the two best teams in baseball in the last 3 months. Since June 19th, the Padres have gone 48-25. The Astros have gone 48-28. Those are the two top records across the major leagues in that span. Houston leads the majors in rotation ERA in that stretch at 3.30. Padres rank second in runs per game at 5.2. So a matchup here today of a Houston rotation that has been very, very good in the last 3 months, and the Padres offense has been terrific in the last 3 months as well. Again, a matchup tonight of the best two teams in baseball over the course of the last 3 months. We'll hear from Joe Musgrove in just a moment. First, let's tell you what to watch for in tonight's game.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For. Presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovementsSD.com.
What to watch for in today's game. What can the top of the Padres lineup do? We talked about it on Friday and Saturday in San Francisco. One of the real great things for the Padres in those two games, they took an early lead in the first inning on Friday. They took an early lead in the first inning on Saturday. Of course, I'm not just talking about the top of the lineup in the bottom half of the first inning, but if this top of the lineup can get it going early and throughout the ball game, that would be a really big deal. And I bring it up also because the top three spots in the Padres order have combined to hit .281 this season. That's the fourth best batting average from batters 1 through 3 in the major leagues this year. In fact, the Astros actually have the best 1 through 3 batting average this season. But at .281, with those top three in the lineup, the Padres have the fourth best batting average in the majors in those spots in the lineup. And of course, here tonight, that's Luis Arraez, Fernando Tatis Jr., and Jurickson Profar, and then Manny Machado behind him in that cleanup spot. So how does the top of the order perform against Spencer Arrighetti and this Houston bullpen? That's what to watch for in today's game. Back in the lineup here today, Donovan Solano playing first base, batting eighth. He had a huge game on Saturday, 4 hits, and as we know, both Solano and Peralta, David Peralta, have been so good and so important for this Padres team in 2024. One of the leaders of the Padres, Joe Musgrove, spoke earlier today about the impact of Peralta and Solano on this team.
Yeah, I was actually just talking to Tony, one of our clubhouse guys, about the Korea trip and how long ago that feels, and not only that, but just how different the team is from that point. The guys that we had in camp that were unsure if they were going to be on the team or not, and then obviously a lot of impactful players that we've acquired along the way. Just wild to see where this team's gotten to, and I think those guys are two of the centerpieces of the team. Not only, like you said, what they do on the field and some of the the ability that they give us in the lineup to move guys around, get guys off days. But they're like the two fathers of the clubhouse. Like I watch how they interact with our other Latin guys, and they're the center of every conversation. And Donald's got the nickname teacher, partially because of his looks of the substitute teacher, but he is like he's like another coach, another set of hands that's got a really good feel for his swing, his approach, drills and whatnot. So I think they bring a whole lot to the table. DP's obviously the huge energy piece for us, kind of sets a tone every day in the dugout, but he's the same guy in the clubhouse, on the road trips, on the plane, just really high energy guys that are also really quality ball players.
I thought that was a really great answer from Joe Musgrove on the impact of Solano and Peralta here in 2024. What a job they've done. Great answer there from Joe. And Solano again back in the lineup today for the Padres playing first base. And, of course, David Peralta available off the bench. Let's dive into our pitching matchup between Yu Darvish and Spencer Arrighetti.
Let's take a look at who's on the bump today with our starting pitching preview. Presented by Chimney Sweeps, Inc., San Diego's trusted chimney and fireplace service company for 40 years. Call Chimney Sweeps, Inc. at 1-800-CHIMNEY or book an inspection online at chimneysweepsinc.com.
On the mound for the Padres here today, right-hander Yu Darvish. The 38-year-old is 5-3, a 3.52 ERA in 13 starts, 64 innings. He struck out 62 and walked 17. His last start in Seattle, 5 innings, 2 earned runs given up on 7 hits. He allowed 2 solo home runs, struck out 5. That was his second start off the IL. He gave up 3 earned runs on 4 hits in the first outing. He threw 63 pitches in both of those 2 starts. So we'll see how much deeper Yu Darvish goes here today. Darvish has made 15 starts against the Astros in the regular season in his career. A 3.64 ERA in his career against them in the regular season. Hasn't faced them, though, since 2021. Almost all of those regular season starts came years ago when he was a member of the Texas Rangers. Remember, Darvish also made 2 starts against the Astros in the 2017 World Series when Darvish was pitching for the Dodgers. On the mound for the Astros, young right-hander, 24-year-old rookie Spencer Arrighetti, 7-12, a 4.72 ERA, 26 starts, 131 and 2/3 innings. He's a big strikeout guy. He struck out 158 and walked 61. Last start against the A's, he went 6 2/3 innings, 2 earned runs given up on 7 hits. Arrighetti has been really good for the most part in the last couple of months. 7 of his last 11 starts have been quality outings, and Arrighetti did win AL Rookie Pitcher of the Month in the month of August. And that's a look at our starting pitching matchup tonight. Spencer Arrighetti on the mound for Houston and Yu Darvish on the mound for San Diego. You've been listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network. EcoWater SoCal, your water should be perfect. Find them online at EcoWaterSoCal.com. When we come back, Jesse Agler, Bob Scanlon have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our postgame show. You're listening to your home for San Diego Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan, and the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the game, everybody.